Hello my lovelies and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be doing a May reading wrap up of all of the books that I read in the month of May. May is my birthday month and I just turned 16. I don't have my license yet. It's been like a week since my birthday and I have not gone to get it, but hopefully I get my license soon and then I can drive. I'm very excited. But anyways, you guys don't care. That's not the point. Let's talk about some books. So I read 8 books this month and that's not as much as I would have liked. I was hoping to read more, but it's okay. It's not a big deal. I was on vacation for a while and I didn't read too much while I was on vacation because I was busy doing other things. I did carry a book with me everywhere, but I just didn't have a lot of time. Like, it wasn't like leisurely vacation. It was like jam-packed with activity type of vacation and just didn't have a lot of free time, but I had a lot of fun and now I'm back in my own home, even though I'm going to be leaving again in like a week. I don't even know. But right now I'm here and I have a lot more free time, so hopefully I can read more books this month. But anyways, that's not important right now. Right now what's important is what's already happened. So let's get into these 8 books. So the first book that I read this month was He Who Drowned the World by Shelley Parker Chon. This is the sequel to She Who Became the Sun, which I read She Who Became the Sun. I don't know if I actually read it this year. I think I might have read it last year. I'm not quite sure, but I didn't love She Who Became the Sun. I really enjoyed the first half of it like a lot, and then there was like a time skip, and then I didn't really like this like middle portion of it as much, but then I did like the ending. So it was like, I don't know, I had mixed feelings about it. But this one, I think I felt the same. Like, there were certain aspects of this book that I really liked, then there were also certain aspects of it that I just kind of a little bit boring to me. I was kind of like, okay, wasn't super attached to what was going on. But I think my issues with this book might just be like a me problem and not the writer's fault, because I think this just isn't my genre. And the reason I say that is because this book is very heavy in like war. Like, there's a lot of war going on. The whole thing is a war, and there's a lot of fighting, and like glory over everything is like the kind of like theme, is that you fight for glory, which is definitely intriguing in a way. But I don't know, I just don't think I find books about war that interesting, so I think that was kind of my fault for picking this up. But I wanted to finish the series. I wanted to stick it out and not quit on it, so I did. And I don't think it's a bad series by any means. I rated this one 3 stars, and I think I rated the first one 3 stars also. So, you know, I think it's good if you're looking for something that's very, not even political, I would say, just fighting. A lot of fighting, a lot of drama, a lot of morally gray like characters who are just competing with each other and hating each other, and a lot of death and violence. But it was good. I don't remember how it ended, actually. I'm trying to remember. It's been a while since I read it, but yeah, I don't know. It's one of those where you're like, I don't know if I'm rooting for the main character or not, but let's just see what happens. Would I recommend it? Maybe. It just depends on what your taste is, what kind of books you like. If you're into violence and warfare and that kind of stuff when you're reading, then this one's probably good for you. It just wasn't perfect for me. The next book I read is one that is very, very popular, and that is The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. I've had this series on my bookshelf for a very long time. It has been many, many years. I think it's been like 4 years, 3 or 4 years that I've had these books on my bookshelf. It has been a long time, and I just have never gotten around to reading them, because at the time I got them, being so long ago, I was very different than I am now, and I read very different books. And then I don't even know why I never read them at that time. I just didn't. And then after they'd been sitting on my shelf for a while, my taste had changed, and they were like, this isn't something I want to pick up and read anymore. But finally I was like, because I've been trying to read all the books that I own before I buy new ones, which I pretty much almost kind of did. It doesn't matter. But I decided to finally pick up The Cruel Prince and read it, and I was right in assuming that I wouldn't like it, because I did not. Now, before you come at me, because this book is so popular, I actually don't understand how this book is popular, because I was gonna sit here and be like, I understand, it's fine, there's good parts. There wasn't. This book was not good at all. I don't know. Okay, first of all, the cover of this book is ugly. Don't hate me. It's an ugly cover. But the little doodles on all of the chapters with the little flowers and the bumblebees are really adorable. And I like that. And I like the kind of atmosphere it sets. It's very whimsy, very magical atmosphere. So that got it points. I ended up rating it 1.75 stars. I'm thinking about maybe lowering that rating, but that's what I gave it. And I liked the main character fine. I thought she was fine. It was the whole plot and the romance aspect of it that I didn't like. Now, of course, it's a romantic trilogy, so the characters don't actually get together in this book, but I know that they get together in the end because, 1, it's obvious, it's very tropey, and 2, I've seen people talk about it. But the love interest, Cardan, I hate him. I absolutely despise him. And I know it's supposed to be enemies to lovers. And they try to combat his absolute bitchiness by saying, oh yeah, well, he was abused, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, I get it. But that doesn't give him the right to actually literally almost kill Jude multiple times. Like, it's insane. He literally just straight up bullies her. And I hate bully romance. I hate it. And I did not enjoy it at all. And aside from that, literally the whole plot I thought was dumb. Like, why are we just killing people for no reason? Like, I just didn't understand what was going on, and it made no sense to me. I was like, why do all these people have to die? Like, it didn't match the vibe of the book at all, the amount of death. Really weird. And it wasn't like deaths that are going to make you emotional. It was deaths that just like didn't matter. And I don't know. I just didn't enjoy it at all. It was definitely not my cup of tea. If you really like this series, I'm not hating, but please genuinely tell me what you like about it. And maybe it gets better. Maybe the first book is just not the best, but I really did not enjoy it and I would not recommend it. The next book I read was Wicked by Gregory Maguire, the original book that the musical is based off of, and then the movie obviously is based on the musical. I finally got around to reading this. This is actually my mom's copy that she read when she was in like college, I think a long time ago, and she really loved it when she read it. And so she was like, you should read it, because I love the musical and I love the movie too, but the musical mainly I really love, and I've seen it live and it's so incredible. And so I was like, okay, I'll read the book, because sometimes books are better. I knew going into it that the book was obviously not the same as the musical or the movie, that it was very different, that it had been altered a lot. So I was like, I kind of knew what I was expecting, but then again, I really didn't. If you're planning to go into this book, completely clear your slate of anything you know about Wicked, because this is an entirely different story than the story that you've seen if you've watched Wicked. This is very, very different, completely different story. I didn't give this a rating because I don't know how I feel about it. Because I'm such an avid lover of the movie and the musical, this felt off because it's so different and it's the same characters, but they're doing things that like I wouldn't imagine them doing, and there's this whole plot line that I'm like, wait, that's not how it goes, even though this is the original. And so while I did enjoy it, I think it was hard for me to enjoy it because I was trying to make it be the story that I know. Meanwhile, it's a whole different story. And so I didn't know if I could accurately give it a rating, because I feel like all of the hate I have towards it has nothing to do with it by itself, but just has to do with it in comparison to the musical. So that's why I'm not giving it a rating. But I don't know. I don't know if I would recommend it or not. There's just a lot of plot points that happen in like the musical and the movie that are very different or just not at all included in here. And there were like certain things I was waiting for to happen and they didn't happen, or there were things that did happen and I was like, wait, that doesn't make any sense. Why would they do that? And so I didn't feel super into it. I think maybe if I had read this before ever seeing Wicked, I would have liked it better. But because I had something else I was expecting, this just didn't do what I thought it would. So I wouldn't say I would recommend this or I wouldn't. It just depends. If you're going to read this, have it be completely separate from anything else Wicked you've ever seen, because I promise you it's very different. Next book I read is another classic, albeit quite older, and that is The Picture of Dorian Gray. This is another one I've had on my shelf for a while and I just haven't picked it up to read it yet, and so I finally did, and I'm really glad I did because I actually enjoyed it much more than I thought I was going to. I'm not gonna lie, going into it I really didn't know what it was about. I didn't even read the blurb. It's just obviously everyone knows the name, and so I was like, okay, I'm gonna read it. And without knowing at all what it was about, I really, really enjoyed it. If you don't know the plot, the story opens up with Basil, who is an artist, and he is painting, or he has just completed, he's either about to complete or he's just completed a portrait of his friend Dorian Gray, who is supposed to be like the most handsome man in the world. I don't know. Anyways, he's painting this portrait of Dorian, and when he finishes the portrait, Dorian looks at the portrait and he's like, oh my goodness, it's amazing, blah, 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 it's great, beautiful, perfect, whatever. Well, then their mutual friend, his name is Henry, I believe. I don't know. It's either Henry or Harry or something like that. He is this kind of crazy conspiracy theorist guy, and he talks to Dorian and he's like, well, this is terrible because this painting's always going to look better than you do, and it's going to make you look worse in comparison because you'll never be as young as you were in that painting. And he kind of gets it into Dorian's mind that the painting is evil and that the painting is this depiction of him younger, and that Dorian's just going to age and age and age forever, and that he'll never be as worth as much as he is right now when he's young and perfect. And so because of this, Dorian kind of freaks out and he makes a wish that the painting will be the one that ages and that he will stay young forever. And then a lot of things unfold. It gets kind of dramatic, as most classics do, but I really, really enjoyed it. It has heavy like themes on like youth, like losing yourself as you get older and wanting to stay young forever, wanting to live forever, the value that we put on youth and beauty, which I think is really, you know, an interesting perspective to see. Obviously, it's problematic being a classic. All classics are problematic. It's very misogynistic, very misogynistic. But if you can set that aside, it's actually really good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I gave it 4.75 stars, so it's just shy of 5 stars. I thought it was really intriguing. I liked the ending a lot. I thought the ending was smart and funny and a good little twist. And I actually did really enjoy myself. So if you were going to read a classic, that's definitely one that I would recommend. And then the next book I read is one that is very like buzzy right now. A lot of people are talking about it, and that is Our Infinite Fates by Laura Steven. I had very, very high expectations for this book, okay? Very high. And that's because in the synopsis, it described it as This Is How You Lose the Time War meets The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. Now, both of those books are books that are 6-star books for me. I adore both of those books. And so when it was described like that, I was like, okay, this better be the best book I've ever read. Otherwise, why are you using that comparison? Like, no. So I had very high expectations, and I read it, and it was fine. It wasn't a bad book by any means, but it definitely wasn't what it was made out to be. I don't think the Time War comparison is at all accurate. I don't think it really resembles Time War in any way. The Addie LaRue comparison, I feel, is a little more, it makes more sense, and I can see how it would be compared to Addie LaRue. Not necessarily in the writing or the plot or anything like that, but the formatting, because in Addie LaRue we kind of see her present day story unfolding like as time goes on, and then we also see the stories of all the lives like she's lived but going backwards. So we see like the last life she lived and then the one before that, and so that the way that happens, the way that unfolds in Addie is the same way the plot unfolds in Our Infinite Fates, because we see the current timeline and then we also see all the past timelines going back and back and back until they go to the very beginning. That, I think, is where that comparison came from, but that's where the comparison ends. There's nothing else similar. The plot of this book follows our two main characters, who are these like infinite beings like that have transcended time, and they are aware of all of their past lives, and in every single one of their lives they have to murder each other before they turn 18. Now, only one of them is aware of why they're in this situation, and that one refuses to tell the other one. Now, throughout every life they're reincarnated into different places, different cultures, different races, different genders, all sorts of different circumstances going on, and the only thing they have in common is that they love each other and they're going to kill each other. However, in the present life that our main character is in, she really likes her life, and she has a little sister who she's very, very fond of, and her little sister is dying. She has a critical illness, and the only way to save her is to get a transplant from the main character. However, the catch is the surgery to schedule the transplant is after her 18th birthday. So she's trying really, really hard to stay alive. Meanwhile, the person that is her soulmate is hunting her down, trying to kill her. And we kind of figure out as the story unfolds about why this is happening, what's going on, all their past experience, all that stuff. Now, as I was reading this, it did keep me turning the pages, but there was something that was off about it and I couldn't place it. I was watching a YouTube video yesterday, and I saw the girl, I'll add her out right here, but she talked about this book, and she said that the reason she didn't like it was because everything that happened they were telling you rather than showing you. And looking back in hindsight, I think that's why I didn't enjoy it also, because any emotions that the characters are feeling, like any feelings they have, anything like that, it just comes right out and says it. There's no room for you to read between the lines. Everything is just outrightly stated, and that makes it less immersive and less enjoyable to me. It makes it feel very much like, oh yeah, I'm reading a book. You know, I feel like that doesn't make much sense when I explain it like that. And then the other thing that this person also said, which I also agree with, is that all of the characters were way too aware of like everything of themselves. Like it felt very much like you are reading something that was written down as opposed to being immersed in a world, and that just kind of made it less enjoyable for me. I will say, however, that I did really like the very last little snippet where we figure out like the very first lives that they lived and what happened and how they ended up in this situation. I really did like that bit, but overall I thought it was fine. I gave it 3.25 stars, so not a bad rating by any means. Would I recommend it? I think I probably would, but don't expect it to be Time War meets Addie LaRue, because it's definitely not. But it is not a bad book, so if you want to read it, go ahead. It's short, so it's easy. The next book I read is A Song for the Wild-Built by Becky Chambers. This one is one that is very much beloved, and I've seen so many positive things, and after reading it, I can confirm it's a really great book. It's very heartwarming, very wholesome. The plot of this book, so before the start of this book, it lets you know that there was robots that were kind of built by someone or the government or whatever, and the robots were used, but then the robots kind of gained consciousness and they decided, hey, we don't know how to live without humans, so we're gonna go into the woods and figure out what it is that makes a human human. And then once we've decided that, we might come back to society. And so that was kind of the whole setup, okay? And then our story starts and we have our main character, Dex, who is a non-binary monk, and I forget what their specialty is originally, but they decide to change to a tea monk. So they become a tea monk and they travel around and they become like this highly renowned, really beloved tea monk in their community. However, they still don't feel like their life is complete. They still don't feel like they've accomplished anything. So they decide to go just out into the woods and go on this journey to find themselves, basically. And during this journey, they meet a robot who has been living in the woods. And the conversations that these two characters have just about life and about purpose and about what it means to be human, what it means to have value and to exist. It's so interesting because they both have very different perspectives and they just talk and they learn from each other, and it's very, very beautiful. It's very wholesome, heartwarming. Like, this is a book that's going to warm your heart. It's a book that's going to feel like a hug. And I really enjoyed it. It's very short. You can get through it really quick. I read it all in one sitting. Very, very cute little book. I really, really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. I definitely would recommend this. You want something light, easy, but also it's gonna make you feel like it's heartwarming, but it did make me tear up in a way of like, aw, that was sweet. Like, very, very good book. Very good little book. And yes, I will recommend. Then on a different note from that, the next book I read was Where Sleeping Girls Lie. This one I read on the plane, and I read like the whole thing on the plane ride. I didn't put it down once. This book was incredible. This book was absolutely incredible, and I was expecting to like it, but I wasn't expecting to like it as much as I did. I loved this book. I absolutely loved this book. In this book, we follow our main character, Shade, who has had a pretty rough life. Both of her parents have died, and she is just now moving to this new boarding school that she's going to be attending. And it's like very elite, very rich people boarding school. And so she starts going to this school, and the first day she's at the school, she meets her new roommate and they kind of start to become friends, but then when she wakes up in the morning, her roommate is gone, and her roommate has just gone missing, completely wiped off the face of the earth. So obviously her and her roommate's best friend are concerned, and so they go to the school and they're like, hey, figure out what's going on. And so for a little while the school is searching for her and trying to find her, but they're not trying super hard and they seem like they don't really care. So Shade and Basil, which is her roommate's friend, try really, really hard to take the matter into their own hands and find her herself, figure out what's happened, because they know there's something shady going on. And let me tell you, I did not expect the direction this book was going to take. I really didn't. I didn't read the blurb because I didn't want to spoil it for myself. I saw so many people love it, so I just didn't even read the blurb. I didn't even want to know what it was going to be about, and I didn't know. And oh my god, guys, this was incredible. This was so incredible. Definitely look up trigger warnings before you read it, because there's a lot of heavy stuff that goes on in here, a lot of really not great things going on, but pick it up, read it. It's so good. When I was reading this, I got sort of the same vibes as Legendborn, just in the sense of like the new school, and then there's like this weird kind of like group within the school that's kind of like a little culty, a little society, elite society, kind of interesting, and then there's really bad things going down in that society. That part of the book felt very Legendborn-esque to me, which I love Legendborn, and so I liked that it reminded me of that while I was reading it. I don't know. There was another book this reminded me of, but I don't even remember what it was. It's left my brain right now, but I really enjoyed this. I think it's an excellent book. I think it's a must read, honestly. It's probably going to be one of the best of the year. I gave it 4.75. The only reason I didn't give this 5 stars was because I wish we had more interactions between the characters. Like, this book was excellent. It was absolutely incredible. No hate at all. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. I just wished we got a little bit more. That was my only little critique. But absolutely incredible. Highly recommend. Look up trigger warnings, but if you're good, you're good. Highly recommend. And I'd also recommend going into it not knowing at all what's going on. Like, just dive right in. You will be on the edge of your seat, and you will be shocked and angry at the turn of events that take place. Very good book. And then the last book that I read this month, which if you watched my last video or maybe the video before that, I kept talking about being excited to read this book. It's Rule of Wolves by Leigh Bardugo. I finally finished it. I finally read it, and oh my goodness, I loved it. It was great. I actually surprisingly didn't love it as much as I thought I would. I thought this would be 5 stars. I was really thinking this would be 5 stars. I gave it 4.5 stars, so very close to 5 stars, but not quite 5 stars. Six of Crows still has my heart, but this one, really excellent, really great. I don't know how exactly to explain the plot of this without spoiling the first book, but if you know anything about the Greaserverse, I mean, it just follows Nikolai and Zoya and Nina on their journeys, and absolutely incredible. I will say, minor spoiler, whenever I read King of Scars, I was like, Nina and Hannah are gonna end up together, Nina and Hannah are gonna end up together. And did. And that made me so happy because I love to see that. And also, another spoiler, but I love that we got the trans rep with Hannah. I thought that was really incredible. And I love how they were able to use her like tailoring skill to make that happen. I thought that was really, really cute, really fun. But anyways, great book, really, really great. I would highly recommend. I don't know what exactly it was that stopped me from giving this 5 stars because like, there's not any issues that I have with it. I guess it just didn't feel, I guess I just wasn't attached to it as much as I am to like Six of Crows, Tricky Kingdom. I don't know, but it was definitely really, really excellent. And really, there were lots of moments when I was just like, I love all the character dynamics. Leigh Bardugo does character dynamics really, really well. I've mentioned that before. I love the way she does characterization. And this was no doubt another hit. It hit. It's very, very good. And also, I mentioned this before a couple times, but I'm planning on the next video I film to be a like guide to / ranking the Grishaverse because I finally finished the Grishaverse. And let me know if you guys actually want to see that. I haven't read anything else Leigh Bardugo outside of the Grishaverse, so let me know maybe where I should start. But I do plan on getting a guide to the Grishaverse. So if you want to know more about this book and all the Grishaverse books, stay tuned. It's coming. But anyways, gave this 4.5 stars. Yes, I would recommend. And that's all the books I read in May. It's not a lot, and I feel like this video is going to be short, but it's okay. I'm hoping to read more, hopefully, this month. But anyways, it's a nice little stack we've got going on here. This isn't all of them because I didn't have all my copies, but it's a nice little stack. And yeah, we read some good books, so I'm not mad. And since that's all I have to talk about, I guess I will see you guys next week. Bye.